All right, so we're back. Padres A's game ended a couple hours ago. Uh, and I'm just going to get straight into the breakdown here. And then we'll discuss the upcoming Colorado series and a bit of injury updates. You guys probably already know about Merrill and Tatis and Crone. And so game one. Game one was pretty good start in the first inning. Guys were swinging right out of the gate, and finally we were hitting for extra bases, which was what I was kind of like. That was like one of the things we were kind of missing on offense. So it was nice to see. Arise got a double down the right field line. Manny kind of had like a blooper double. It probably would have been a single if JJ Bleday had just like kind of let it drop in front of him, but he tried to go for the dive and it cost him because it slipped out of his glove. Manny gets the double and Arise scored. Arise honestly was kind of in no man's land if Bleday caught that, but he didn't, so Arise kind of a bit greedy on that play, but he commits to it and it works out. Scores easily. And then Crone immediately, I believe next pitch, hits a 2-run shot, no doubter, and that was beautiful. That was a freaking beautiful home run. Granted, it was, this is a smaller park, so I don't know if that would have left in Petco, but still really cool to see. So yeah, then we scored 3 runs on 3 hits in like just 15 pitches roughly. So that's pretty cool. Against Luis Severino, who played for the Mets, and I guess he signed a 2-year deal with the A's here. And then King came in. He had a walk in the first inning, but didn't give up any runs. Crone had an error in the second, but we forgive him for that error because he hit a 2-run home run. So, that stuff gets thrown out to the wayside, especially when they don't really capitalize on it. So, and then the third inning, Arise had a single. Manny had his second double. And an interesting tidbit about Manny and facing Luis Severino is that all of his hits are extra base hits. I think he's got like 5 or 6 or 7 now. So it's kind of cool. And it was funny because one of those was that blooper double that probably should have been a single. Fourth inning, King gets into a bit of trouble, and his pitch count is starting to get kind of high because they're fouling off a lot of stuff. And he's kind of gave up a lot more hits than normal, but they didn't really do much damage on him, thank God. Until this inning, actually. They didn't do much damage until this inning. They get like a crappy infield hit on a chopper, and that scores a run for them. The A's put up 2 more runs, and it's 4-3. And then Manny had this really cool play in the 5th inning. It kind of looked like Tatis in rookie season Tatis 2019, where Tatis would like spin around. If a ball came at him when he was playing shortstop, Tatis would like spin around and catch it with the backhand and throw a dart to first. That's kind of what Manny did right here. It was pretty cool. Really good play. So yeah, and then I think King goes 5 2/3 or maybe 6 innings pitched, and he does pretty decently actually. So it was a solid overall outing for King. So he does go 5 2/3, and then Morejon comes in and gets the last out. And then the A's, for some reason, they let Severino go to the 7th inning. His pitch count wasn't that high, but by the 7th, I think he was at like 90 or so, and they should have pulled him because they let Tatis face him for a 4th time, and he freaking launches a nuke into the Sacramento night, and it went 406 feet, 108 off the bat, and that was a freaking bomb. I think it hit the roof of the Padres clubhouse there, so that was kind of cool. And that was a good insurance run because in the bottom of the same inning, Soderstrom for the A's hit his second homer, but it was a solo shot, so it was only 5-4. Jason Adam and Robert Suarez shut down the 8th and the 9th inning, and we win our first game of the series. Game 2, first inning, Don kind of like jinxes Manny to hit his first home run with his call on the broadcast, but it was like a good jinx because he said like Manny hasn't hit his first homer yet, and then he immediately hits his first homer opposite field. Then Xander hits a hard hit single, and then all of this I believe was with 2 outs, the homer and Xander's single, I believe. And then Gurriel comes up because I believe we're facing a lefty, and he gets a big double, which brings X home. And it was like just like the first game where we had like a hot offensive start to the game. Bottom of the first, Cease just trolled this game so hard. He was basically just serving up pitches down the middle of the plate. There was a few that were like away, or I think they were just missed. Like he just missed his location, and they were still getting to it. And a lot of the hits, they were just racking up hits against him. First pitch, second pitch, and it was pretty rough. He ended up giving up 6 runs in 20 pitches, and then he ended the inning with 26. But I remember looking at the scoreboard, and it was like 6-3 in the first with just 20 pitches thrown. I was like, what? How do you give up 6 runs on 20 pitches? It's crazy. I thought we could fight back still, but unfortunately, we do fight back a little bit. Xander gets a sac fly for us, and it's 6-4. And I thought we could fight back, but unfortunately, top of the third inning, Cron gets injured on a swing follow through, which we later found out was a cramp, and so he had to come out of the game. And then Cease kind of just continues to serve up more meatballs, and on top of that, Oscar Gonzalez had like an error. He had an error in left field, and it was a pretty bad error. He shouldn't have let that ball get past him. It was like a rolling grounder that just got past the infield, and he tried to come up firing for some reason, and it just got past him. 2 runs score on that, and then it ends up being 9-4. Tatis leaves the game eventually because I didn't see him ever really wince on any swing, but I guess he did, and so they had to take him out. I think it was shoulder related, but the game ends 10-4, maybe 11-4. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's much harder to win when some of your starting hitters are out, and your starting pitcher gives up 9 runs. So that was game 2. That's pretty much it for game 2. Game 3, it starts out looking kind of rough. But just like pregame, you're seeing Merrill's out, Toddy's out, Cron's out. But we get off to another. Let's see. The first inning. We get some guys on. I think Xander gets on somehow, and then Manny gets on first, and then he steals his 6th bag of the season, which is hilarious to say, because I think he leads us now in stolen bases. So that's that's funny. I can't believe Manny's got 6 stolen bags in like 11 games, 12 games. Vasquez walks a pair of guys when he comes up, but only gives up 1 run in the second inning. And then Oscar Gonzalez gets a blooper single, so he kind of makes up a little bit for that error in game 2. And then at the end of the inning, we see like a pair of ducks like walking on the field, and the cameras zoom in on it for a second. So that was maybe like a good omen for us. Whenever we see ducks, we seem to win the game. Or ducks, geese, whatever. So that's cool. And then, and at the ending of the third inning, when those ducks showed up, I looked at the scoreboard, and we had like 6 hits on 1 run and only 1 run to show for it, which I'm actually not too mad about, because that just means we're getting good contact right now. And it's sort of a continuation where you can look back over our past 6-7 games where we just are getting a lot of singles, but it's still good to see that we're getting hits. So on a consistent basis, getting hits, eventually we're going to break out and get extra base hits. And we did this series. Would like a little bit more of that, but it's still a good thing to see that we're not going to get we're not going to get no hit anytime soon, I hope, or in theory, if we're seeing high hit counts like we are. I think we ended up getting like 12 or 13 hits at the end of the game, so that's a good sign that we're making solid contact with the ball. And I think we're also like top 5 in average in the league now. So Bogey, speaking of hard hit, Bogey gets a hard hit double in the 5th. Manny moves him over with a sac fly, or not a sacrifice fly, but a fly ball. Manny moves him over, and then Sheets comes in and gets the sac fly. That gives us an extra run, so it's 2-1. Jose Iglesias has a nice double play to end the 5th inning. And that was the end of Randy Vasquez's outing. And Randy did really, really good. I think he's actually going to be one of our better pitchers this season. I hope I hope this is part of what helps him win that 5th spot or 4th spot in the rotation when Darvish comes back and we have Pivetta and stuff. Because I think Pivetta is going to get like the 4, like it's going to be King, Cease, Darvish, and then Pivetta, and then Vasquez probably. So this is a good outing for him. I kind of wanted him to go the 6th inning, but I guess Schilt went with Morahone because it was kind of a close game. But Randy was only at 60 pitches, so I don't mind it because I think Schilt just wanted some of those guys to get some innings in before the off day. So we put in Morahone in the 6th, Estrada in the 7th, Adam in the 8th, and Suarez in the 9th. They all freaking put up zeros, and yeah, that's the end of that game. So we win the series 2-1. It's also Luis Arraez's birthday, so happy birthday to him. Unfortunately, he didn't get a hit on his birthday, but yeah. So that's the end of the series. We win it 2-1. Player of the series, I'm going to go with Xander because he had a really good series. I think he was like 6 of 13 or maybe 7 of 13. It was a big comeback series for Xander. His average shot way up, so that's really nice to see. Pitcher of the series, I'm just going to give it to the bullpen, all the bullpen, because they've been pretty much consistently great. Even some of the new guys that were called up, like Gillespie, I think he did a solid job considering the situation he was dealt. Yuki's been great. Peralta's been great. Morahone, Estrada, Adams, Suarez, all been great. So I'm going to give it to the bullpen. Usually I would give it to like one player, but they've just been all great. It's hard to like just pick one. Yeah, so this is a bit of a quicker video, hopefully. Because the last one I feel like I'm going on too long, so I'm going to try to make these maybe 15, 20, maybe 25 minutes, depending on how much stuff I have to talk about. So yeah, that's it for this series. Upcoming series is going to be at home versus the Rockies, starting on Friday. The Rockies, in the past few years, it's been tough for us to get wins against them. So, hopefully, new year, maybe that makes a difference, so it's a new year. They've always seemed to have our numbers, so thankfully it's at home. We're 7-0 at home still, so maybe that'll help us somehow. But yeah, so it's going to be an interesting series, and we'll see if we still are cursed or not. And then it's going to be a rematch with the Cubs. That's a much more important series because it might have some playoff implications if we end up like being close to the Cubs for like the final few playoff spots. So we kind of we really want to win like at least 2 of those games, but to tie the season series, but we'll see. And yeah, it's like I said, off day tomorrow, so that should be good for Tatis and Cron and Merrill to get extra day of rest. And I believe I heard through like multiple sources that Tatis and Cron will probably be able to play on Friday, so that's really good. And then hopefully Merrill can come back within the next few days as well. Hopefully before the Cubs series, Merrill can be back. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this series. It was a pretty solid series. It's hard to really complain when you win the series and you have the best record in the MLB. So yeah, great start to the season all around, and let's keep it going. So yeah. I'll be back. I'll be uploading a new video on probably on Sunday for the end of the Rockies series. Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So have a good one, guys.